Hey guys, it's Matt with Simon, and today we're going to walk through some of the content editing options within the platform, specifically Simon Mail, how to build templates, and how to build individual content. And we'll also touch on some Jinja editing. You can see here, I'm in the Simon dashboard, and on the left-hand side of the page, I have my campaigns tab. So I'm going to click on that and then choose content. And this takes me to the content home screen. So on the right-hand side of the page, you can see I'm in the templates tab, and this is the list of templates that are available. And the left-hand side of the page, I have a list of tags, which is basically the organization system for your templates. So for this example, we'll go ahead and create a template from scratch. So I'll click on Create Template, and you can see I have two options. One is to use the template editor. Think of that as more of an HTML-centric editor, or the drag and drop editor, which is really designed for marketers to work within a WYSIWYG environment to drag and drop elements onto the page. So let's go ahead and choose drag and drop editor first, and then we'll go from here. Now, you can see that once I open this up, it's a very basic WYSIWYG. On the right-hand side of the page, I have the elements that I can add to the email, and the left-hand side is my canvas. So first off, let's go ahead and create some structure. So I'm going to drag and drop a few different organizational elements. Maybe I'll add a few different one-column rows, and then maybe I'll add a two-column row. And then on the content tab, we'll start to build out the actual email. So I'll go ahead and grab an image, drag and drop that to the top, click on Browse, and that'll take me into the asset management portion of the tool. I'm going to go into my Matt O'Neill folder, and I'll choose my Simon logo. You can see here, I have that logo loaded up. And then on the right-hand side of the page, I have a whole bunch of options for basically manipulating this image. If I wanted to add alt text or change the size, or add a URL or align it a certain way, add different types of padding. So think in terms of as I add components to the WYSIWYG, I can also update or manipulate some of the backend HTML that displays it. So let me go from here and we'll add something to our second column. So maybe in this case, I'll go ahead and add some text. So I'll drag and drop that, click on edit, and you can see an inline text editor appears where I can make some very basic editing options in terms of aligning text, resizing text, adding bullets, that sort of thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'll drag and drop, or I'm sorry, I'll cut and paste some content directly into here. So as a marketer, I have basically full control over the presentation layer of this email. If I wanted to add, for example, one more piece of content, maybe I'll come in here, go to my content tab, add one more image, drag and drop that in, and I'll go directly back to my examples, and I'll just add my sticky notes image, for example. So really designed for marketers to control, like I said, the presentation layer, easy to build email templates, all designed without any sort of HTML knowledge. And then these can be inherently executed using Simon Journeys and Simon Flows, which we've walked through in a prior session. So really cool way for a marketer to have control over the actual emails they're building inside the platform. So let me go ahead and exit back to content. And we'll open up just a different example. So in this case, we'll open up an abandoned cart email. Now, this email is using the more traditional HTML editor. So in terms of who would use this, think of a more technical marketer that might be building out or receiving some designs from a designer. They give you raw HTML, and you can see here, I can paste and edit that HTML directly inside the platform. And there's a bunch of cool features that this allows for. You can see I have on the left-hand side of the page some Jinja inlaid that's designed to show me or designed to let me pull content blocks that already exist. So in this case, I'm pulling a header. In this case, I'm pulling some cart items. If I scroll down, I'm pulling a footer. So not only can the HTML be pasted in and edited here, but we can also, if I go to the right-hand side of the page, click on the blocks, and for example, take any of the shared content blocks, which I'll walk through in a second, and inject those directly into the template. So for example, at the very bottom, if I wanted to add a footer, I can click on footer, and it'll inject that Jinja directly inside the platform or directly inside the email. So really cool way to create a single content item and reuse that across multiple email templates. And there's a few other options here also. So you can see I have on the right-hand side of the page my preview screen in terms of what the email will actually look like. If I wanted to, for example, test what this email would look like for certain contacts, I can do that to get a preview. So I want to make sure, how does it look for Matt versus how it look for someone with different metadata than that user? If I wanted to do any sort of lookups around how different items are being used inside the email, I can do that. And like I said, the last component I'll talk about is the blocks, where I have those centralized blocks that can be reused across multiple emails. So really great way to create very flexible emails with a lot of personalization, leveraging all of the components and data inside of the Simon Data Platform. Now, specifically, and I'll make some space right around here, we also have the ability for developers to leverage a tool or a coding language called Jinja. So think of Jinja as like a language very similar to JavaScript, where I can create conditional logic inside of the HTML itself. So for example, you can see here, if someone's first name is available, then it'll display first name. If not, they'll display something else. So as a marketer, as someone that's designing the actual emails themselves, when I want to create dynamic elements, in this case, this is very basic, but I can create dynamic elements in terms of the entire experience of the email, the header, the footer, the branding, right? All of the content based off of everything we know or the data attributes we know about that user that's stored inside the Simon platform. And one of the nice things about this language is, and I'll just drag this over very quickly, we provide full documentation and examples on how to use it when you're working within the Simon platform. So for folks that aren't familiar with Jinja, no worries there. There's a ton of information on our documentation site to help you build that. Anyone that's done really any sort of coding, it's essentially just getting down to what the syntax is. But if then statements, looping statements, reference statements, those are all readily available. And this documentation can really help you design or go to the next level in terms of your knowledge of Jinja. So really great option in terms of taking the learning you have here and expanding that with our documents. Cool. So you can see in terms of building out an email, pretty basic, HTML on the left, email preview on the right. So let me go ahead and close this. And then the last component, we just quickly touched on this, is if I go to the top right section of the page, I have my templates we've been working in, but if I just wanted to create basic content blocks, you can see I can do that also. So here is that centralized area of content that can be leveraged across all of your different email templates. So you can see some of the examples here are header, our footer. If I go to, for example, a welcome message that's used across multiple emails, you can see I can create this here, and same exact experience. In this case, I have the ability to use any of that custom Jinja we had talked about, or just write out some HTML, and then external emails to this can reference this. And then when I make a change here, it'll then cascade to all of the areas that are referencing this content block. So really great way to make things more manageable, as opposed to having, a footer or a different footer in every email. You have one centralized footer, you add a link to that footer, it then cascades to everywhere where it's being used. So really great for scalability and flexibility. Great. So in terms of building out content inside of Simon, we have, like I said, the Simon email templates, the Simon email blocks, and there's a variety of options for building those, but it really gives marketers the ability to control the actual content. And then when these emails are built, you can go to the flows and journeys training to walk through the steps and actually sending out those emails.